The Aquaculture Revolution. How RAS systems are redefining modern fish farming worldwide. 1. The hidden fortune beneath the water. The sun rises over a still pond. Golden light glides across the surface, catching gentle ripples that mirror the awakening sky. Beneath that quiet beauty, pumps hum softly, filters swirl, and oxygen bubbles rise like champagne. This is not an ordinary pond. It's a living machine, a recirculating aquaculture system, or RAS, a revolution quietly turning water into wealth. Most people think wealth comes from land, steel, or silicon, from real estate, crypto, or code. But what if the next generation of millionaires didn't come from skyscrapers or server farms, but from ponds behind their homes? What if your backyard could become a zero-waste ecosystem that feeds your family, your community, and your future? This is not a fantasy, it's happening right now. Across the world, small farmers, entrepreneurs, and innovators are discovering the hidden fortune beneath the water. And it starts with one idea: that we can grow more fish with less water, less land, and almost no waste. Imagine this. Instead of draining thousands of gallons of water every week, a smart RAS setup keeps 99% of that water clean and reusable. Every drop circulates through a living loop, mechanical filters that remove waste, biological chambers where beneficial microbes purify the water, and oxygen lines that keep fish thriving. The result? A self-sustaining system that turns every liter of water into pure productivity. This isn't traditional aquaculture, it's water-based engineering for the future. A fusion of biology and technology where every valve, sensor, and pump works in harmony to create the perfect environment for life. Fish grow faster, feed efficiency increases, diseases are nearly eliminated, and farmers finally take control, not just of their crops, but of their destiny. For generations, rural communities have fought unpredictable weather, rising feed costs, and polluted rivers. But in the age of RAS, a new kind of independence is emerging. You don't need hundreds of acres. You don't need heavy machinery. You need innovation and the courage to believe that farming can be clean, profitable, and sustainable all at once. In a world where fresh water is shrinking and food demand is soaring, RAS is more than just a system, it's a survival strategy. It gives farmers the power to recycle water endlessly, reduce carbon emissions, and grow protein where land farming simply can't. From remote villages in Vietnam to high-tech barns in Texas, the same story repeats. People are transforming small patches of land into powerful, circular economies fueled by the rhythm of flowing water. And here's the best part: RAS doesn't just grow fish. It grows opportunity. Each tank becomes a classroom of innovation, where young farmers learn to balance ecosystems, manage data, and turn science into income. It's where sustainability meets profitability, and where hope takes physical form in the shimmer of healthy fish scales under clear water. Because this isn't just farming. This is food security for the next century. This is environmental restoration in motion. This is rural prosperity redefined. The hidden fortune beneath the water isn't measured in gold or land. It's measured in resilience, in knowledge, and in the quiet hum of progress powered by pumps, filters, and human ambition. Welcome to the revolution, where every drop counts, every cycle gives back, and every farmer can become a pioneer of the blue economy. 2. What is RAS? The science of sustainable water farming. In a world racing toward resource depletion, one technology quietly rises like a ripple in still water: RAS. Short for Recirculating Aquaculture System. It's more than a fish farm. It's a controlled ecosystem, a water-based revolution that redefines how humanity produces food in the 21st century. Picture this. Instead of vast, muddy ponds stretching across acres of land, you see compact circular tanks, shimmering under soft LED lights. Beneath the surface, sensors track oxygen, pH, and temperature in real time. Pumps move water through filters that act like the lungs of the system, breathing life into every drop. This is the world of RAS, a place where biology meets technology to create a closed-loop cycle of endless renewal. At its core, RAS is elegantly simple: reuse water, control the environment, maximize life, Traditional aquaculture relies on open ponds or cages that constantly discharge waste into rivers or oceans. RAS breaks that cycle. Water from the fish tanks is collected, cleaned, oxygenated, and returned, again and again, allowing up to 99% of the water to be reused. The result? Minimal pollution, superior growth, and sustainability on a scale our grandparents could never imagine. Let's break down how this aquatic factory works. The process begins with mechanical filtration. As fish eat and grow, uneven feed and waste accumulate. Instead of dumping this nutrient-rich water into the environment, RAS sends it through a filter that sieves out solid particles, much like a coffee filter capturing the grounds. From there, the water enters the biological filter, the true heart of the system. Inside this chamber live millions of microscopic workers, beneficial bacteria that convert toxic ammonia, a byproduct of fish waste, into harmless nitrate. It's nature's chemistry lesson, harnessed through technology. This biofiltration step transforms what would have been deadly waste into nutrients that can even be used for hydroponic vegetables or algae production. In some farms, RAS doesn't just raise fish, it raises food for the fish, completing a full ecological circle. After biological purification, the water passes through UV or ozone disinfection units, eliminating pathogens and ensuring the aquatic environment remains disease-free. The last stop is the oxygenation and temperature control system. Here, machines infuse the water with life-giving oxygen and maintain stable warmth, creating the perfect conditions for continuous, healthy growth. Then, crystal-clear water flows back to the tanks, ready to begin its next journey. This cycle repeats thousands of times a day, creating a self-contained universe of clean, efficient production. But the real power of RAS lies not only in its design, it's in its promise. Each component represents freedom from traditional limitations. Water is no longer wasted, it's recycled. Space is no longer a barrier. RAS can operate in a warehouse, garage, or basement. Seasons no longer dictate productivity, the environment is controlled. 24/7, 365 days a year. That's why countries like Norway, the Netherlands, Japan, and Vietnam are leading a new wave of RAS adoption, from shrimp and eel to tilapia and trout. In these nations, farmers report yields that are 5 to 10 times higher than those of open pond systems, with drastically lower mortality rates and minimal environmental impact. Imagine producing a ton of fish using the same water that once raised just a few hundred kilograms. Imagine doing it without contaminating rivers, without antibiotics, and without fear of disease outbreaks. That's what RAS makes possible, a fusion of science and sustainability that gives every farmer, from backyard hobbyist to industrial producer, the same superpower: total control over nature's most precious element. In an age where climate unpredictability threatens food systems, RAS offers something rare: stability. Farmers no longer depend on rain or sunlight. They depend on data, precision, and innovation. It's farming that runs on intelligence, not chance. And as more communities embrace RAS, the implications go far beyond aquaculture. The same principles, closed loops, resource recycling, balance between life and technology, form the foundation of a new kind of agriculture. A cleaner, smarter, circular future. Because RAS is not just about fish. It's about the idea that we can live within our means, producing abundance without destruction. It's proof that sustainability isn't a dream, it's a design choice. The science is here, the technology is ready, and beneath the surface, the quiet revolution continues, turning clear water into clear profit, and transforming aquaculture from a centuries-old craft into a high-tech symphony of renewal. 3. Why the world needs RAS, the problems it solves. Around the world, the story is the same: rivers are shrinking, oceans are warming, and traditional fish farms are choking under the weight of their own waste. The old way of aquaculture, open ponds and constant water discharge, is reaching its breaking point. Every year, millions of gallons of polluted water flow into waterways, carrying uneaten feed, fish waste, and chemicals. The result? Algae blooms, oxygen depletion, and devastated ecosystems. Meanwhile, the demand for fish, one of humanity's most efficient protein sources, keeps rising. By 2030, The world will need over 40% more seafood than it produces today. Yet natural fisheries are collapsing, and traditional aquaculture cannot expand indefinitely without consuming more land and water. The planet is quite literally running out of space and time. That's where Recirculating Aquaculture Systems, RAS, come in. These systems address the core problems of conventional farming: pollution, disease, inefficiency, and scarcity, by replacing guesswork with control, and chaos with precision. Let's start with pollution, the silent killer of aquatic life. In open ponds, nutrients and organic waste escape freely into the environment, causing eutrophication and fish kills downstream. RAS captures and treats every drop. Solids are filtered, toxins are biologically neutralized, and water is returned cleaner than before. In some systems, waste is even repurposed as fertilizer or biogas fuel, turning pollution into power. Then there's disease. Traditional aquaculture constantly battles viral outbreaks and bacterial infections that can wipe out entire crops overnight. Because open systems are exposed to the outside world, pathogens spread easily through shared water sources. RAS, by contrast, functions like a biosecure fortress. No external water enters unless it's been purified. UV sterilization and ozone disinfection keep the environment virtually sterile. While stable conditions reduce fish stress, the #1 cause of disease vulnerability. The third major challenge is water use. In many parts of the world, from California's Central Valley to the Mekong Delta, freshwater scarcity is becoming an existential threat. RAS reduces water consumption by up to 90 to 99%, needing only small top-ups to compensate for evaporation. In other words, you can raise tons of fish with the same water that once supported just a few dozen pounds. For drought-prone regions, this is more than innovation, it's salvation. And let's not forget efficiency. Traditional farms depend on the weather, seasons, and luck. When it rains too much, ponds overflow. When it doesn't, crops stagnate, temperature fluctuations slow growth, and pollution lowers survival rates. But RAS eliminates those variables. It creates a climate-controlled ecosystem that allows farmers to raise fish year-round, at consistent quality and quantity. The numbers tell the story. Water savings, up to 99% reused. Disease reduction, 80 to 90% fewer outbreaks. Production density, up to 100 kilograms per cubic meter, 10 times higher than ponds. Mortality rate, as low as 5 to 10%, compared to 25 to 40% in traditional setups. That's not just an improvement, it's a revolution. Beyond the data, though, lies something deeper: empowerment. For too long, small farmers have been at the mercy of external forces, markets, weather, and environmental degradation. RAS gives them autonomy. It allows a farmer in Arizona, Vietnam, or Kenya to create a thriving aquaculture business inside a closed system that can fit in a warehouse, a backyard, or even a garage. The technology levels the playing field. You don't need access to a river or a coastal lease. You need knowledge, commitment, and a few tanks connected by a loop of innovation. That's why forward-thinking countries, from the US to Denmark, Singapore to Vietnam, are investing heavily in RAS as part of their food security strategies. Because when every drop of clean water counts, efficiency isn't optional, it's survival. RAS doesn't just produce fish, it produces a future where aquaculture no longer harms the environment it depends on. It's the blueprint for how humanity can continue to feed billions without destroying the very systems that sustain life. As the planet faces rising temperatures, collapsing ecosystems, and unpredictable rainfall, one fact becomes clear. The farms of the future won't be on vast tracts of land. They'll be inside smart, sustainable water systems, humming quietly, recycling endlessly, and feeding the world with balance and intelligence. RAS is not just a response to crisis. It's a promise that the solution to scarcity can be found not in taking more, but in reusing wisely. 4. Inside the RAS engine, how it works. Beneath the calm surface of a recirculating aquaculture tank lies a world of invisible engineering, a seamless dance of water, biology, and technology working in perfect rhythm. This is the beating heart of RAS, a living machine designed to transform waste into wealth and chaos into control. To understand why RAS is changing the world, you must first see how it breathes. Imagine it as a human body, each organ with its own role, all working together to keep life thriving inside a closed loop. At the center of it all are the grow tanks, circular or oval structures that hold the fish. Water constantly flows in a gentle spiral, carrying oxygen while preventing debris from settling. The movement keeps the fish active and healthy, mimicking natural currents without turbulence. Every drop of this water is precious, and none of it goes to waste. From the tanks, the used water flows into the mechanical filtration system, the system's stomach. Here, all solid wastes like uneaten feed and fish feces are captured. Depending on the farm size, this can be a simple sedimentation basin, a sand filter, or a high-tech rotary drum filter spinning with precision. It separates the solids before they decay into toxins, ensuring the rest of the system stays clean. What once was waste now becomes a resource in advanced farms. This sludge is dried and converted into organic fertilizer, closing yet another loop of sustainability. Next, the water passes to the biological filter, often referred to as the lungs of RAS, and for good reason. This is where the magic happens. Millions of beneficial bacteria live on tiny surfaces known as biomedia, small rings or chips made from high-density polymer. These microscopic workers perform one of nature's oldest miracles, nitrification. They consume toxic ammonia and nitrite produced by fish metabolism and convert them into harmless nitrate. This natural purification process is what allows RAS to reuse its water endlessly. The science is simple but powerful. Step 1. Ammonia, nitrogen trihydride, from fish waste right-pointing arrow converted by Nitrosomonas bacteria right-pointing arrow nitrite, NO2. Step 2. Nitrite, NO2, right-pointing arrow converted by Nitrobacter bacteria right-pointing arrow nitrate, NO3. It's the aquatic equivalent of turning poison into air. The water that leaves this stage is safe, oxygen-rich, and biologically balanced, an environment where fish can grow stronger, faster, and healthier. But nature alone isn't enough. That's where chemical and UV treatment comes in. After biofiltration, water often passes through activated carbon filters or ion exchange resins that remove trace metals and dissolved compounds. Then, powerful UV lamps or ozone injectors sterilize the flow, eliminating any remaining bacteria or viruses. It's the final polish, a guarantee that the water returning to the fish is as pure as mountain spring water. At this point, the RAS system becomes a self-sustaining ecosystem. The mechanical filter removes waste solids. The biofilter detoxifies the water. The UV system keeps it sterile. The oxygen and control units ensure perfect living conditions. And then, the cycle repeats. Hour after hour, day after day, without interruption. Modern RAS systems are fully automated, monitored by digital dashboards that track every parameter, from dissolved oxygen and temperature to pH and nitrogen balance. Alarms alert farmers instantly if something shifts out of range. Some systems even use AI to predict problems before they happen, adjusting oxygen levels automatically or activating standby pumps when needed. In high-efficiency setups, a single operator can manage hundreds of cubic meters of water and thousands of fish, something unthinkable in traditional aquaculture. The numbers are staggering. Well-designed RAS installations can reuse 90 to 99% of water, maintain ammonia below 0.1 mg per liter and nitrite under 0.05 mg per liter, support stocking densities up to 100 kg per cubic meter without stress or mortality, deliver consistent water quality 24 hours a day, regardless of weather, location, or season. Think of it as the difference between a candle and an LED bulb. Both produce light, but one wastes energy and burns out quickly, while the other lasts for years with precision and efficiency. RAS is the LED of aquaculture, designed for longevity, performance, and control. But perhaps the most powerful aspect of RAS isn't the technology, it's the philosophy. It represents a shift from extraction to regeneration. Instead of taking from nature, RAS works with it, recycling its gifts endlessly. It's the physical embodiment of the circular economy, every input reused, every output repurposed. That's why innovators around the world call RAS the foundation of blue agriculture, a new era where water-based systems produce clean protein, reduce environmental damage, and empower local economies. Whether it's a multi-million-dollar salmon facility in Norway or a backyard fish farm in Mississippi, the principle is the same: one system, infinite renewal. Inside the hum of pumps and the glow of control panels lies the heartbeat of tomorrow's food supply, quiet, steady, and full of life. And the best part? Anyone, anywhere, can build it. Because the RAS engine isn't just a machine, it's proof that with the right design, sustainability and profitability can finally swim in the same tank. 5. RAS meets Biofloc, the double efficiency revolution. If RAS is the engine of modern aquaculture, then Biofloc is its secret fuel, a living, breathing superfood that transforms waste into value. When combined, the two systems create one of the most efficient, eco-friendly, and profitable farming models in the world. RAS plus Biofloc, the powerhouse of sustainable fish production. To understand this partnership, picture what happens in a traditional fish farm. Fish release waste, leftover feed, ammonia, organic matter, which quickly builds up and pollutes the water. Farmers must change the water constantly, wasting thousands of liters daily. But Biofloc technology flips that equation upside down. Instead of throwing the waste away, it uses it. Biofloc is a community of beneficial bacteria, algae, and microorganisms that live together in the water. They consume fish waste and convert it into microbial protein, tiny, edible particles that fish can eat again. It's a self-cleaning, self-feeding cycle, nature's way of recycling nutrients on the spot. When integrated with RAS, Biofloc doesn't just clean the water, it turns the water into food. Think of it as aquaculture on turbo mode. Here's how it works in harmony. The RAS keeps water circulating, filtering solids, and maintaining optimal oxygen and pH levels. Biofloc adds a biological layer that digests dissolved waste, ammonia, nitrite, and organic carbon, using microorganisms as living filters. The microbes grow and multiply, forming flocks, visible clumps that resemble brown clouds suspended in the water. These flocks are rich in protein and vitamins, serving as natural feed for the fish. The result? You get double productivity with half the resources. In a RAS-only system, the main goal is water purification. But in RAS plus Biofloc, every stage contributes to both clean water and extra nutrition. Farmers report feed conversion ratios, FCRs, dropping from 1.6 to 1.2. Meaning fish need far less feed to grow the same amount. And because the Biofloc consumes ammonia and nitrite, it keeps the water stable, reducing the load on biofilters and extending the system's lifespan. Take tilapia farming as an example, one of the most popular species in both Asia and America. Tilapia thrive in Biofloc environments. In RAS plus Biofloc tanks, these hardy fish swim through a dense, nutrient-rich medium that constantly regenerates itself. Instead of clear blue water, the tanks look like a latte, thick, brown, and alive with microscopic energy. The fish feed naturally all day, nibbling on the Biofloc, which improves digestion and immunity. And the results are nothing short of remarkable. In Vietnam and Thailand, hybrid RAS plus Biofloc systems have achieved 20 to 30 tons of tilapia per hectare per cycle, feed cost savings of 30 to 40%, water savings of over 95% compared to open ponds, survival rates up to 95 to 98%, even at high densities. This fusion of biology and engineering isn't just about efficiency, it's about resilience. Because in Biofloc water, the balance of carbon and nitrogen, C/N ratio, is carefully controlled. Harmful nitrogen compounds can't accumulate. That means fewer water exchanges, fewer antibiotics, and almost no disease outbreaks. In practical terms, the process is simple. Farmers feed both their fish and their water. By adding carbon sources like molasses or rice bran, they feed the bacteria that consume ammonia. The bacteria, in turn, feed the fish. It's a perfectly circular chain, the kind of system nature perfected long before humans ever thought of farming. When paired with RAS automation, oxygen sensors, pH regulators, temperature control. The Biofloc ecosystem thrives under constant balance. Even during power interruptions or system maintenance, the microorganisms keep working, buffering the environment naturally. That's why many call this combination the Tesla of aquaculture, self-regulating, efficient, and eco-smart. And it's not just about fish. Shrimp, eel, catfish, and even ornamental species like koi have been successfully raised in RAS plus Biofloc systems. With cleaner water, healthier growth, and tastier flesh, many chefs in eco-conscious restaurants now prefer Biofloc-raised fish for their rich flavor and firm texture. The grass-fed beef of aquaculture. But beyond taste and technology lies something more powerful: hope for sustainability. RAS plus Biofloc represents a philosophy that farming doesn't have to be a zero-sum game. We can grow food without depleting the planet. We can create abundance without creating waste. Every flock, every drop, every fish tells the same story. That balance between innovation and ecology isn't just possible, it's profitable. From backyard setups in Florida to high-tech farms in Vietnam, the movement is spreading fast. And as climate change tightens its grip, systems like RAS plus Biofloc aren't just smart choices, they're survival tools for the next generation of farmers. Together, they prove that the future of food won't come from endless expansion, it will come from circular thinking. RAS and Biofloc, where water never stops giving, and nature never stops teaching. 6. The eel farming miracle, turning muck into money. In the still, muddy canals of Southeast Asia, a quiet transformation is taking place. What was once seen as dirty, smelly, and risky has now become a model of high-tech success: eel farming using RAS. It's the story of how one of the most mysterious creatures in freshwater is being raised in a clean, closed-loop environment that multiplies profits while protecting nature. For decades, eels were farmed in the simplest way possible: shallow earthen ponds or cement tanks filled with mud. Farmers relied on unpredictable weather, manual feeding, and heavy water use. The result? Slow growth, disease outbreaks, and huge losses. But everything changed with the arrival of Recirculating Aquaculture Systems, RAS. With RAS, eels no longer depend on muddy ponds. They now thrive in a smart, self-cleaning, oxygen-rich world, and farmers are reaping rewards beyond imagination. At first glance, eel farming might seem modest, quiet tanks in a shaded area, with only the soft sound of bubbling water. But beneath that surface lies a system capable of producing 5 times more yield than traditional setups. The secret lies in how precisely RAS controls the environment. Every factor, temperature, oxygen, pH, ammonia, is balanced like an orchestra in perfect tune. Inside each RAS eel system, the process begins with tank preparation. The tanks are smooth, often tiled or lined with blue PVC to prevent injury to the eel's delicate skin. The water circulates continuously through a sequence of filters, mechanical, biological, and UV, ensuring that even in high-density environments, oxygen stays above 6 mg per liter and ammonia below 0.5 mg per liter. For the eels, it's paradise. Constant fresh water without the stress of changing seasons or stagnant waste. Then comes the stocking phase. Farmers choose strong, disease-free eel fry, usually from certified hatcheries. The stocking density? Between 200 to 300 juveniles per square meter. A level that would be unthinkable in open ponds but completely manageable in RAS. Each eel finds refuge in suspended nylon threads or plastic shelters, mimicking their natural burrows while keeping the tanks easy to clean. Feeding is both an art and a science. Young eels start with a protein-rich diet, a blend of earthworms, small fish, or commercial pellets containing 40 to 44% crude protein. As they grow, the feed is adjusted to maintain optimum conversion. In RAS environments, farmers can precisely monitor feed intake, reducing waste by up to 30% and boosting growth rates. The typical feed conversion ratio, FCR, drops to 1.1-1.3, compared to 1.8 or higher in traditional systems. But what truly makes eel RAS remarkable is its consistency. Traditional farmers used to battle unpredictable weather, fluctuating temperatures, and water contamination. With RAS, Every tank becomes a microclimate, thermostatical controlled between 25 degrees Celsius and 28 degrees Celsius. Ensuring eels eat and grow year-round. That means more cycles, faster returns, and constant cash flow. And the results? Nothing short of revolutionary. In provinces like Nguyen and Giang in Vietnam, RAS eel farmers report annual profits of $25 minus 30.000 from just 132 square meters of tanks. That's more than many rice farms earn from several hectares. The numbers don't lie. Survival rate, 90 to 99%. Yield, 40 to 50 kilograms per square meter per cycle. Profit margin, 36 to 60%. Water savings, 10 times less than conventional ponds. One farmer, Mr. Go Sai Kwan from Nguyen, shared. Before, I was changing water every day, and my eels still got sick. Now, the system filters the water automatically. I only add a small amount to replace what evaporates. My electricity bill went up, but my profits multiplied. Another farmer, Mr. Lam Van Don Zan from Giang, took the model even further. By integrating a fully automated RAS with suspended eel shelters and pellet feeding, he achieved 3 to 5 billion VND per hectare per year in revenue, all while keeping his water crystal clear and disease outbreaks near zero. Even researchers have taken notice. According to experts from Kantho University, RAS not only increases yield but also ensures better traceability, food safety, and export potential. With global demand for eel meat rising, especially in Japan, Korea, and China, RAS farming could make Vietnam and similar countries major players in the premium seafood market. But perhaps the most inspiring part of the RAS eel revolution is its accessibility. You don't need vast land or advanced machinery. You can start small, a few tanks, a simple filtration setup, and a steady power source. Many successful farmers began with systems costing less than $3 minus 4.000, expanding gradually as profits rolled in. Maintenance is straightforward too. Clean filters weekly, check sensors daily, and feed twice a day. The system does the rest, circulating, cleaning, oxygenating, and nurturing. And beyond profit, there's something poetic about it, transforming what was once muddy and chaotic into something elegant and sustainable. The eel, a creature once associated with murky ponds, now symbolizes modern efficiency and green innovation. Across the world, RAS eel farms are emerging as a blueprint for small-scale, high-value aquaculture. In Japan, micro-RAS systems are used in urban warehouses. In Europe, startups are using solar-powered RAS tanks to raise eels with zero carbon emissions. In Vietnam, RAS technology has even been adopted by young entrepreneurs who once worked in tech, trading keyboards for control panels and code for clean water. It's proof that the future of aquaculture isn't just about fish, it's about reinvention. Eel farming through RAS is living evidence that nature and technology can cooperate, not compete, that farmers can thrive without harming their environment, that clean water, clean energy, and clean profit can exist in the same tank. Because when you master the water, you master your future. 7. Tilapia in RAS, America's affordable superfish. If there's one fish that perfectly captures the spirit of the modern, sustainable farm, it's tilapia. Hardy, fast-growing, and mild in flavor, it's often called the chicken of aquaculture. But when raised in recirculating aquaculture systems, RAS, especially when combined with Biofloc technology, tilapia becomes far more than an affordable protein source. It becomes a blueprint for food independence. Across the United States, a quiet movement is underway. From converted garages in Texas to solar-powered greenhouses in Florida, farmers are turning small spaces into smart aquaculture factories. Tilapia, once farmed in muddy ponds, now thrive in crystal-clear RAS tanks where every drop of water is reused and every gram of feed is accounted for. Why tilapia? Because it's forgiving and remarkably adaptable. It tolerates wide temperature ranges, grows quickly, and thrives on plant-based feed. But what truly unlocks its potential is the RAS environment, where farmers can control every factor of growth, from oxygen and pH to water temperature and feeding precision. Let's start with the setup. A standard RAS tilapia farm uses circular or rectangular tanks, usually made from reinforced fiberglass or lined concrete. The tanks connect to a system of pipes and filters that constantly recycle the same water. Every few minutes, the water flows through. 1. Mechanical filters, which remove uneaten feed and fish waste. 2. Biofilters, where bacteria convert ammonia to nitrate. 3. UV or ozone units, which disinfect the water. 4. Oxygen injectors, which keep dissolved oxygen levels above 5 mg per liter. This closed loop creates a micro-ecosystem where tilapia live in near-perfect conditions year-round. While traditional ponds depend on rain or seasonal heat, RAS allows continuous production. Even in cold climates like Michigan or New York, the water stays between 25 to 30 degrees Celsius, 77 to 86 degrees Fahrenheit, tilapia's ideal temperature range, all controlled automatically by smart sensors and thermostats. The numbers are powerful. In a single RAS module of 100 square meters, farmers can raise up to 20 to 25 tons of tilapia per year, using only 10% of the water required for open ponds. The fish grow from fry to harvest size, about 1.5 to 2 pounds, in just 6 to 8 months. And survival rates exceed 95%. With the right feeding strategy, the feed conversion ratio, FCR, drops to 1.2-1.3, meaning it takes just 1.2 pounds of feed to produce 1 pound of fish. But the efficiency doesn't stop there. When Biofloc technology is added, just as in the eel systems, the benefits double. The microorganisms in Biofloc digest uneaten feed and waste, creating a natural, protein-rich supplement. Tilapia feed on it directly, improving growth while reducing the need for expensive commercial pellets. This combination slashes feed costs by 30 to 40% and virtually eliminates water exchange, making it one of the most sustainable models in the world. Beyond the numbers, tilapia RAS farms also represent a shift in mindset, especially in America. They align with the country's growing focus on local, sustainable, and traceable food systems. Consumers want fish that are free of antibiotics, free of pollutants, and raised responsibly. And with imported seafood dominating over 85% of the U.S. market, locally produced RAS tilapia fills a massive gap. Take the example of Blue Ridge Aquaponics in North Carolina. Starting with a small, 2.000 square foot RAS unit, they now produce 100.000 pounds of tilapia per year. Using only a fraction of the water of traditional farms, their fish are sold fresh to local restaurants within 24 hours of harvest, never frozen, never imported. The company's slogan says it all: grown in water, powered by science. Another pioneer, Aqua Harvest Systems in Texas, uses solar panels and AI-controlled pumps to manage a fully automated RAS facility. The system sends real-time data to the farmer's phone, oxygen, temperature, and feeding rates, allowing precise control even from miles away. The result? Fish that grow 25% faster and taste cleaner than pond-raised varieties. RAS tilapia farming is also democratizing aquaculture. Because the systems can be modular, farmers can start small, even with tanks as little as 10 square meters, and scale up as profits grow. Some urban entrepreneurs are building micro-RAS systems in warehouses or garages, turning city spaces into food hubs that supply local communities. Imagine this: a single-car garage producing 2.000 pounds of fresh fish per year with zero wastewater. That's not a dream, it's already happening in California and Ohio. Beyond profit, the environmental benefits are huge. Water conservation, 90 to 95% savings compared to ponds. Zero pollution, no runoff, no discharge into rivers, no antibiotics or chemicals. Controlled environment prevents disease. Carbon reduction. Local production means less transport, less fuel. In developing countries, these same systems are helping rural families escape poverty. In Vietnam, Thailand, and Kenya, smallholder farmers using RAS tilapia modules have increased their income threefold in just 2 years. The systems use solar power, low-cost local feed, and recycled materials, proving that technology doesn't have to mean complexity or high cost. And what about taste? Consumers often describe RAS-raised tilapia as firmer, cleaner, and fresher, without the muddy flavor associated with pond fish. Restaurants love it, supermarkets want it, and health-conscious families appreciate the transparency. Every fish traceable from egg to plate. As the world looks for sustainable solutions to feed nearly 10 billion people by 2050, RAS tilapia stands as one of the most scalable answers. It's clean, efficient, and adaptable to any climate, from deserts to cities, from small homes to industrial farms. So when we talk about the superfish of the future, it's not salmon or tuna, it's tilapia, reborn through RAS. This is more than aquaculture. It's a revolution in how we think about food, water, and sustainability. A model that doesn't just feed people, it empowers them. RAS tilapia, grown smarter, cleaner, and closer to home. 8. Real-world success stories, from ponds to profits. Every revolution begins with real people, dreamers, doers, and risk-takers who dare to try something new. The rise of RAS isn't just a tale of technology. It's the story of farmers and innovators around the globe who decided to challenge the old way of thinking. From high-tech Norwegian salmon facilities to backyard fish tanks in Vietnam, RAS is rewriting the future of aquaculture one success at a time. Let's start in the Mekong Delta, Vietnam, a region once defined by sprawling shrimp ponds and unpredictable yields. Here, farmers faced constant battles, polluted canals, diseases like white spot and EMS, and skyrocketing costs of water and feed. Then came the RAS revolution. At a small farm in Bac Lu, a group of young farmers replaced their open ponds with modular RAS tanks, each equipped with mechanical filters, biofiltration media, and UV disinfection units. Within just 1 year, their productivity skyrocketed. Shrimp survival rates rose from 60% to 90%, and production per hectare jumped from 10 tons to 80 tons. Better yet, they cut water use by over 90%, discharging nothing into nearby rivers. One farmer explained it best. "We used to spend all day fighting the environment. Now, we control it." From these successes, the Vietnamese Ministry of Agriculture began promoting RAS as a core component of sustainable aquaculture policy. Today, RAS farms producing shrimp, catfish, and eels are spreading across the delta, proving that the future of aquaculture isn't about expansion, but precision. Half a world away, Norway tells a different story, but the same philosophy. In the cold northern fjords, RAS has become the backbone of modern salmon farming. Instead of raising young salmon, smolts, in open sea cages from day one, farmers now grow them in land-based RAS facilities for their first 6 months. These high-tech centers recycle 99% of water, maintain perfect oxygen levels, and shield the fish from parasites like sea lice, a massive problem in open systems. By the time the salmon are transferred to sea cages, they're stronger, larger, and more disease-resistant. Some facilities have gone fully land-based, raising salmon entirely in RAS tanks from hatch to harvest, a move that could make Norway's salmon industry 100% ocean-free by 2030. And it's not just large corporations. Across Europe and North America, small-scale farmers are proving that you don't need millions of dollars to join the RAS revolution. In Denmark, family-owned operations use compact RAS modules to grow trout in barns powered by wind and solar energy. Their waste is processed into biogas that heats the tanks, turning every byproduct into energy. "Our water circulates, our money circulates," one farmer joked, and so does our success. In the United States, RAS is becoming the foundation for a new generation of independent farmers. Take Aqua Farms, Georgia, a 3-acre facility that produces 40 tons of tilapia annually using just a fraction of the water of a traditional farm. Their entire system runs on solar panels, and every gallon of used water nourishes a connected hydroponic greenhouse, growing lettuce, basil, and herbs for local markets. The farm's slogan says it all: zero waste, full flavor. Another example comes from Ohio, where an ex-engineer named Sam Miller turned his family garage into a thriving micro-RAS business. Using recycled IBC tanks, simple filters, and DIY automation, he now produces 2.000 pounds of catfish a year. selling to local restaurants at premium prices. His total water use? Less than what an average household consumes in a month. It's not farming, he says, it's water sculpting. Meanwhile, in Singapore, one of the most densely populated nations on Earth, RAS has become the key to food security. Land scarcity forced innovation. Fish farms moved indoors. Government-backed programs now help small entrepreneurs set up RAS facilities and warehouses, producing everything from sea bass to hybrid grouper. With advanced monitoring systems, farmers can track every variable from their phones, ensuring precise control over water chemistry. The result? Fresh, locally grown seafood in a city that imports 90% of its food. And then there's Japan, where precision and sustainability meet elegance. Companies there are pioneering urban RAS systems integrated with rooftop hydroponic gardens. Imagine standing on a Tokyo skyscraper, below your feet. Tilapia and trout swim in circular tanks, their filtered water flowing into trays of leafy greens. Above them, solar panels power the pumps. It's a perfect loop. Fish feed plants. Plants clean water, and energy powers both. Even the Food and Agriculture Organization, FAO, recognizes RAS as the key driver of aquaculture's next chapter. According to FAO and Eurofish, by 2030, RAS could account for up to 40% of global aquaculture output. Governments from Vietnam to the US are funding training centers and offering tax incentives to accelerate adoption. This wave of transformation isn't just about fish, it's about philosophy. Farmers once at the mercy of nature are now becoming stewards of it. They are learning that water can be both the problem and the solution. From the delta to the desert, the lesson is clear. Innovation doesn't start with new land, it starts with new thinking. RAS empowers that thinking, turning ordinary farmers into environmental engineers, transforming challenges into circular systems of opportunity. And in every story, from a Vietnamese shrimp farmer to a Norwegian salmon giant, the message echoes. Control the water, and you control your future. 9. Challenges and smart solutions. Building a future that lasts. No revolution comes without resistance. And while the promise of RAS is dazzling, cleaner water, higher profits, year-round production, every farmer who has walked this path knows that behind the hum of pumps and filters lies a list of challenges waiting to be solved. The first challenge is cost. Setting up a proper RAS facility isn't cheap. A small modular system for a backyard farmer can cost between $3 and $10, while commercial setups easily reach hundreds of thousands. That's because the system isn't just a few tanks and pipes, it's an ecosystem of sensors, filters, pumps, oxygen injectors, and energy-hungry control systems. For many, that initial investment feels like a wall too high to climb. But here's the truth. RAS is not an expense, it's an asset. Once the infrastructure is built, it pays for itself in savings. No water bills, no antibiotics, minimal feed loss, higher yields. Farmers in Denmark and Japan report recouping their investment in 2 to 3 years, thanks to lower mortality and higher growth rates. In Vietnam, small RAS startups have achieved ROI in less than 18 months by selling clean, traceable seafood at premium prices. Still, for smallholders and new entrants, financing remains a barrier. The smart solution? Modular design. Instead of building one massive system, farmers can start with a single RAS unit, 4 to 6 tanks, one filter set, one pump, and expand gradually. Think of it as aquaculture Lego. Each module self-contained, scalable, and affordable. Next comes the second challenge, technical knowledge. Unlike traditional ponds, RAS doesn't forgive mistakes. When something goes wrong, a pH crash, pump failure, oxygen drop, fish can die within hours. It demands understanding of biology, chemistry, and engineering all at once. For beginners, that can feel overwhelming. The answer lies in training and automation. Around the world, universities, NGOs, and tech companies are creating hands-on programs to bridge the gap. Farmers are learning to use real-time dashboards that monitor every vital parameter: dissolved oxygen, ammonia, nitrite, pH, temperature, all in one smartphone app. When a reading goes off balance, the system alerts them instantly, or even fixes it automatically. Companies like FarmExt in Vietnam and Aquabite in the US are developing AI-powered RAS management systems that analyze camera footage, detect fish behavior changes, and recommend feed adjustments. It's like having a digital assistant who never sleeps, watching your tanks 24/7. The third challenge: energy consumption. Pumps, blowers, and heaters can eat up a large chunk of operational costs. But innovation is catching up fast. Solar-powered aerators, high-efficiency water pumps, and smart inverters have slashed energy use by 30 to 50% in modern RAS setups. In sunny regions, hybrid systems using solar panels and battery backups can run entirely off-grid, giving farmers both resilience and freedom from rising electricity prices. And let's talk about risk management. What happens when the power goes out? For traditional farms, it's an inconvenience. For RAS, it can be catastrophic. Without oxygen flow, fish can suffocate in minutes. Smart farmers now install emergency backup systems, battery banks, generators, and auto-switch oxygen injectors, ensuring the system never stops breathing. Some innovators even go further, integrating AI prediction models that detect power instability and trigger safety protocols in advance. It's high-tech farming at its finest, and it's saving livelihoods. Another key challenge is market access. Many small RAS farmers produce clean, sustainable fish but struggle to find buyers who understand the value. Competing with cheap imports can feel discouraging. The solution? Branding and transparency. Consumers today are willing to pay more for products that are traceable, antibiotic-free, and eco-certified. RAS farmers who label their products clean-raised, zero-waste aquaculture report up to 20 to 40% price premiums at local markets and restaurants. Finally, there's the psychological hurdle: mindset. Traditional farming has deep roots, and convincing a generation to trust machines and sensors over gut feeling takes time. But as more success stories spread, from small Vietnamese eel farms to American tilapia startups, that skepticism is fading. RAS isn't replacing farmers, it's empowering them. It's giving them control over water, over costs, over destiny. Because the real challenge isn't technology, it's transition. And that transition is already happening. Governments, universities, and private investors are coming together to make RAS accessible. Grants, low-interest loans, and innovation funds are supporting local entrepreneurs who want to build sustainable aquaculture systems. In places like the Netherlands and Singapore, national programs are targeting carbon-neutral aquaculture by 2030, powered largely by RAS. The takeaway is clear: every challenge has a solution, and every problem is an opportunity in disguise. The farmers who adapt now, who learn, automate, and innovate, will become the leaders of tomorrow's food revolution. RAS isn't just the future of aquaculture. It's a mirror reflecting what's possible when technology meets tenacity. Control the flow, master the system, and the water will work for you, not against you. 10. Getting started, from backyard to business. So how does someone actually begin this journey? How do you go from a simple idea, raising fish sustainably, to running a full-fledged RAS-based aquaculture business? The beauty of RAS is that it's modular, scalable, and adaptable, which means anyone can start small and grow big. Whether you're a homesteader in Texas, a tech worker in Singapore, or a farmer in the Mekong Delta, the roadmap is nearly the same. Let's walk through it step by step. Step 1. Research and planning. Every great system starts with knowledge. Learn the science of fish farming, not just how to raise fish, but how to manage water. In RAS, water is your crop. Study how nitrification works, how to maintain oxygen levels, and how to keep pH stable. The more you understand these invisible forces, the more power you gain over your operation. Before investing, decide what species fits your local climate, market, and skill level. Tilapia, eel, catfish, and shrimp are among the best starter species because they're hardy, high demand, and adaptable to RAS. Look into your region's seafood demand. Are restaurants seeking clean, traceable fish? Are organic markets growing? If you can identify a niche, you can own it. Step 2. Start small, think modular. Forget building massive facilities on day one. Start with a pilot system, a small, affordable module that lets you learn the ropes while minimizing risk. A basic RAS setup might include 4 to 6 grow-out tanks, each 1.000 to 2.000 liters. 1 mechanical filter. 1 biofilter, with media like Coldness K1 or Hell X. A UV sterilizer or ozone unit. Oxygen diffuser or aeration system. A sump tank and pump for circulation. This setup can be built in a garage, greenhouse, or small warehouse. Many successful RAS farmers began with recycled materials, food-grade barrels, PVC pipes, and DIY filter chambers, spending under $3 to create their first loop. Once it's stable and profitable, scaling up is simply a matter of adding more tanks and filters. Step 3. Choose reliable equipment and suppliers. RAS depends on reliable, efficient components. Buy from trusted sources, not necessarily the most expensive, but proven brands with replacement parts available locally. Prioritize energy efficiency and automation. Cheap, uncalibrated sensors or pumps may save money up front but can cost you entire crops later. Whenever possible, install a monitoring system that tracks oxygen, ammonia, and temperature 24/7. Many affordable controllers now connect directly to smartphones, sending alerts if conditions drift outside the safe range. In RAS, information is your safety net. Step 4. Master water chemistry and routine maintenance. In RAS, you don't just feed fish, you manage an ecosystem. Check daily. Dissolved oxygen, DOOP, keep above 5 mg per liter. Ammonia and nitrite should stay near 0. pH, maintain between 7.0 to 8.0. Temperature, keep stable for your species. Schedule weekly cleanings for mechanical filters and biofilter backwashes. Replace UV bulbs every 6 months. Record everything. Data logs are your secret weapon. If something goes wrong, these records will tell you why. Over time, you'll begin to notice patterns, how feeding affects ammonia, how temperature shifts change growth. This awareness transforms you from a beginner into a professional water manager. Step 5. Build your market and brand. Once your system stabilizes and yields consistent results, it's time to go public. Start local, restaurants, farmers markets, health food stores, even direct-to-home delivery. Emphasize what makes your fish different. Clean water, zero waste, no antibiotics or hormones. Traceable, eco-friendly production. These are powerful words in today's market. Label your product as RAS-raised, sustainably grown fish. Consumers care about story and ethics just as much as taste. Tell them yours, that you're part of a global movement for responsible aquaculture. Many small RAS farmers now use social media to showcase their journey, short clips of feeding, water checks, and harvest days. This transparency builds trust and sells fish faster than ads ever could. Starting an RAS farm doesn't require luck, it requires discipline and curiosity. The first system may challenge you, but once you master water, every tank becomes a self-replicating engine of income and sustainability. Start small, learn deeply, automate wisely, and soon, the gentle hum of water will be the soundtrack of your success. Because in the age of RAS, the farm of the future isn't a field. It's a loop, clean, efficient, and endlessly rewarding. 11. The future of aquaculture, sustainability, profit, and purpose. As the global population races toward 10 billion, one question echoes louder than ever. How will we feed ourselves without destroying the planet? The answer is already taking shape beneath the surface, in a world where technology and ecology no longer compete, but collaborate. That world is Recirculating Aquaculture Systems, RAS, and it represents not just a method of farming, but a philosophy for the future. Imagine a planet where every drop of water is reused, every nutrient recycled, and every farm powered by renewable energy. RAS is the foundation of that vision. It's part of a new movement known as the blue economy, industries that create growth while restoring natural ecosystems. Just as solar panels transformed energy and electric cars revolutionized transport, RAS is reshaping how humanity grows its food. Let's take a glimpse into that future. In the next decade, RAS will merge with AI and data-driven farming, Advanced sensors will track not only water quality but fish behavior, how they swim, feed, and breathe. Artificial intelligence will analyze this data to adjust oxygen levels, optimize feeding schedules, and prevent disease before it happens. Every tank will be a living data hub, sending insights straight to farmers' phones in real time. Automation will replace anxiety. No more sleepless nights wondering if pumps failed or oxygen ran low. The system itself will detect, adapt, and correct, creating stability farmers once thought impossible. Energy will also evolve. Today's RAS farms already experiment with solar, wind, and biogas integration. Tomorrow's facilities will be fully off-grid, using renewable sources to power pumps, lights, and oxygenators. Wastewater won't just be treated, it'll nourish hydroponic vegetables and microalgae. The result? Farms that produce both protein and plants, doubling their output while generating zero pollution. This circular model, RAS plus aquaponics plus renewable energy, will redefine the concept of sustainability. Picture a single system where fish feed plants, plants purify water, and solar panels power the cycle. A fully regenerative loop, a living ecosystem engineered for abundance. And RAS won't stay confined to rural farms. It's moving into cities, urban warehouses, basements, and rooftops are being converted into blue farms, providing fresh, locally produced seafood just blocks from restaurants and homes. No long-distance shipping, no carbon-heavy imports, just food grown where people live. In Tokyo, you'll find trout raised beneath skyscrapers. In New York, tilapia tanks hum quietly under hydroponic lettuce fields. In Dubai, desert RAS facilities produce shrimp using desalinated water powered entirely by solar energy. This is the democratization of aquaculture. Anyone, anywhere, can farm. The social impact is just as powerful. RAS is giving birth to a new generation of agri-entrepreneurs, young, tech-savvy individuals who blend coding with cultivation, science with sustainability. It's attracting innovators from fields like engineering, data science, and environmental design. People who once worked behind screens but now build systems that feed communities. And beyond business, there's a deeper message here. RAS embodies a principle humanity has long forgotten: that progress doesn't have to come at the expense of balance. This is more than a system, it's a statement of intent. It says that profit and planet can coexist. That the farmer of the future isn't a laborer, they're a steward of renewal. Because when you look closely at RAS, what you see isn't machinery or tanks, it's hope. Engineered, it's water purified, energy repurposed, and life reborn in a closed loop that never stops giving. In the end, the farms of tomorrow won't just feed us, they'll teach us something timeless. Technology should never replace the farmer's heart, only empower it. That is the soul of the sustainable revolution, and it begins with one drop of water. 12. Join the RAS revolution. Every great transformation begins with a single choice: the decision to stop watching and start building. Around the world, people are already proving that aquaculture's future doesn't belong only to corporations or governments. It belongs to innovators, homesteaders, and dreamers like you. Whether you live in a city apartment, a rural town, or on the edge of a farm, one truth remains the same: water is opportunity. And opportunity doesn't wait. If you've ever dreamed of a business that's sustainable, ethical, and profitable, one that restores instead of depletes, then the time to act is now. RAS isn't an experiment anymore. It's a proven model. A global movement transforming small backyards and abandoned warehouses into thriving food ecosystems. Think about it. Every drop of water recycled. Every fish grown without pollution or antibiotics. Every farmer free from dependency on unpredictable seasons. That's not science fiction. It's already happening in over 100 countries. The only question is, will you be part of it? Start with what you have. One tank, one pump, one idea. That's all it takes to begin. Learn, test, adapt. Every cycle teaches you more about balance, sustainability, and resilience. And every fish you raise cleanly is a small victory for the planet. You don't need acres of land or millions in capital. You need curiosity, courage, and a willingness to try something different, to believe that farming doesn't have to drain the earth to feed it. The RAS revolution is not just about growing fish. It's about growing the mindset, one where prosperity and sustainability are inseparable. One where food is local, clean, and abundant. One where farmers are heroes again. So, if you're ready to turn knowledge into action, to turn water into wealth, join us. Follow the Farmer's Alley to learn how to build your own RAS system. Connect with innovators across the world, and become part of a global community redefining modern farming. Right finger subscribe, share, and spread the wave, because together, we can make farming smarter, cleaner, and more human. Welcome to the revolution beneath the water. Welcome to the Farmer's Ally, modern farming for a modern world.